we've got some information about click streams, right? We know what subscribers, for those who use GovDelivery, we know what topics you're interested in, right? We get that. We know, in some cases, using some of our other systems, that you visit City Hall. We know that you attend meetings and so forth. But it doesn't differentiate between any of those people. Clickstreams is insufficient information in today's world and today's data capabilities. It's just not enough, right? So we went out about 2 years ago. We recognized this. Angie and I were having conversations 3 years ago about this, and Angie will be up next. And so we went around about 2 years ago and sat down with some of the leading chief data officers at the federal level, big cities, big state agencies, and we said, we've got an architecture we want to share with you, and this is it. For what it's worth, these are systems that we produce that interact with the public. That's what Granicus's purpose is. Many of you know us just through the lens of GovDelivery, but we power 1,000 .gov websites. We do 311 systems. We do surveys. Not here to sell you on those. I want you to be aware that those data are available and we're capturing it. So we said, you know what, let's start to link those data together. Would that be interesting to you? Would you like to look at web activity, email activity, and maybe activity in the library that resulted from the emails and the activity on the web? The answer was yes. So we said, all right, we'll build some analytics and benchmarks. And so we did that. We did a tour, the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. Then we sat down with some people in federal agencies and said, this is what we want to do. We'll focus on email communications data. And they said, well, that's great, but we've got some data too. So they said, well, what we want you to do is pull some of our data in and merge it with the data that you have, because we know some stuff you don't. The state level, we know who drives and who doesn't drive. And when they drive, we know their phone number, we know their email, and we know their address, as a simple example. And they said, so can you connect with our systems? And I said, sure. And they said, oh, by the way, our systems don't connect with each other, no offense, so let's connect with 3 of our systems. You can pull it together and you can do dashboards. And we're doing this today with some agencies, just for what it's worth. And they said, oh, by the way, we use other people's data as well. So we use someone else's data. We use Adobe to track website activity. So you need to pull in other data that other vendors have produced that works with us. Oh, and sometimes we enrich the data. So we actually know the address, but we use other data sources that tell us the probability that they've got a rented property versus an owned property, or what income levels are at. So we want enriched data and make the analytics work with all of that. That was the challenge that we were given 2 years ago. And so we connect with AWS and said, help. I don't know, is anyone from AWS here? Oh, okay, I'll talk kindly about you. But no, we connected with AWS. It's been a marvelous partnership. And they said, what you need to do is a data mesh. And the data mesh, this isn't a technology session. I don't get to do this, so I'll constrain myself. But a data mesh essentially allows all this information to be pulled together, appears like it's in one place, and fuses it together so that we can combine those properties around places, locations, entities like people, although it is in fact secure, separate, and managed independently. And if an agency turns off a feed, it's gone instantly. It's not that we had the feed up till last Tuesday and it's still in our data stores, it's gone. So the data mesh, which we do with AWS, is a central part of our technology construct. Every transaction in GovDelivery, for what it's worth, is securely in GovDelivery and in the data mesh. I want to show you some of the fruits of that in a minute. So that was the design parameter that we put together to manage data.